All right, Ricardo, saving the best for last. This division, we have been waiting to talk about these guys for the longest time now. The AFC West, arguably the best division in football going into 2022.
There's no arguably about it. They are going to be the best division in football. It's going to be a very, very tight arms race going on in this specific season. And it's a great way to cap off our little segments, state of the division segments for each individual NFL division. And we're just 2 weeks away from the first game here.
Yeah, and we've really been looking forward to talking about all these teams: the Las Vegas Raiders, the Denver Broncos, the Los Angeles Chargers, and the Kansas City Chiefs. There have been a lot of interesting moves surrounding all of these teams, so we can't wait to talk about it.
Yep.
So with that being said, I'm Jose.
And I'm Ricardo.
And welcome back to RJ Talks. All right, first team on the agenda, the Las Vegas Raiders. Ricardo, where do you think they'll be placing this next season?
Now, you and I, we're going to be, we're not going to be share the same opinion here, but that's okay because we're still pretty close as far as where they're going to end up. I say they're going to be the third place team in this division, and they're going to take one of the wild card spots for the specific AFC.
For the AFC, yeah. And I was thinking that they were going to be, the last team in the division, and I thought that the Denver Broncos were going to be taking them over in the third place spot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Kansas City is still a formidable team throughout the rest of the NFL.
Yeah.
And it's going to be difficult to top them, even with the loss of Tyreek Hill. Patrick Mahomes is number one target. But as far as the Vegas Raiders go, their biggest strength, along with the Denver Broncos, are their receivers. Mm-hmm. Right? They have a number of star receivers, including the addition of Devontae Adams from Green Bay.
Yep.
Is Derek Carr as talented of a quarterback as, say, Aaron Rodgers is? He's been on the come up the past few years. Yes, and he has definitely shown that he's here to stay in the league, but he still doesn't have a whole lot of experience, not as much as say Aaron Rodgers does. So it's going to be very interesting to see how he handles somebody like Devontae Adams.
Well, the thing is, and here's the big thing about it. The main reason why Devontae Adams left the Green Bay Packers is that he just couldn't handle the prima donna that was going on in Green Bay. That's pretty much what was going on around it. Is that Aaron Rodgers, either he was going to stay or he was going to stay, he was going to go. It was a lot of uncertainty here. And as talented as Aaron Rodgers is, we can just go ahead and say he's not the very best of leaders. Where I would say Derek Carr obviously is not as talented as Aaron Rodgers, but he's certainly a much better leader for the team. He's certainly taken his licks in the league, and he's certainly waiting for the opportunity to try to lead his team to a great run here. Now, here comes the double-edged sword about having Devontae Adams. There's no more excuses for Derek Carr. Got people argue the top receiver in the NFL, guaranteed at least top 2 receiver in the league.
You're absolutely
You
right.
have him as a weapon. Mm-hmm. You have a good running back. You have a great tight end. It's time to get it done.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he can't really throw himself on that sword, so to speak, very much anymore. So Adams has been, throughout many sources, Devontae Adams has been considered the best receiver in the league over the last few seasons. He's very notable for yak, or yards after the catch, mm-hmm. right? That's what a lot of people really know him for.
Yeah.
Right. Now, that's not so you could attribute his individual talent to that. Right, it's one thing to get the ball to your receiver, but it's a complete other thing to gain yards after catching that ball. Right, and he's definitely one to do that. Right now, that's not to mention Hunter Renfrow as well as Darren Waller. Right, for the Raiders.
He's really coming to his own specifically for the Oakland Raiders, and I'm very happy to see that. Former Clemson Tiger Hunter Renfrow caught the game-winning touchdown pass against Alabama to win them the national championship that second go time around. He's just been an incredible slot receiver, which is what he was in college, and he just surprised some people as far as what he was going to be. And I'm very happy that he got that extension as far as for his contract, and he's definitely going to be, if not, I wouldn't say double team, but he's definitely going to be focused on and be like, watch out for him over the middle. Specifically now with Devontae Adams, I'm like, they're going to double Devontae Adams and might still single up Renfrow to make some big adjustments. And Darren Waller, he just model of consistency at the tight end position ever since he's been an Oakland Raider. So it's going to be his pick it's going to be Derek Carr's pick as far as who he wants to get the ball to, and that's not to mention, let alone the running back that he has at his disposal too.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
And this further adds to your point, right?
Yeah.
Derek Carr has no excuse anymore, right? He can't throw himself into the fire. He can't blame anybody else but himself now, right? He is surrounded by insurmountable talent, right? So it is completely up to him to get it done. However, there is no quarterback without some trials, right? There is no player in the NFL without some kind of trials. Every single team has a weakness. Even though this is going to be the strongest division in the NFL, they are expected to be that. It doesn't mean that the Raiders do not come without their faults, and their biggest fault being their offensive line.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. One of the biggest weaknesses, which is sad because a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, you could have made they had one of the top strongest offensive lines in the league. But free agency, guys get paid some money, guys some leave, some of them get hurt. It's just a matter of whether this offensive line can be mediocre enough to not be too much of a problem for them, but they will get exposed definitely by the big teams, which is why the Raiders are not a favorite in the division as far as how they're looking. You got to protect the quarterback, and if the best way to protect the quarterback is try to run that ball a little bit more to make sure you keep the defense off balance.
And that's one of the biggest reasons why I personally place them in the fourth place category.
Yeah.
You do know that in the past, Derek Carr has been very prone to injury.
Yes.
Right. So who's to say that he wouldn't get injured with this lack of protection here? One player in particular that has not shown a whole lot of promise last year was Alex Leatherwood. He is a right tackle for the Las Vegas Raiders. He ended the season last year having given up 8 sacks, 67 pressures, and had 16 penalties placed on him.
Yep.
Granted, he is a rookie and he has a lot of time to develop, right? But he can only develop so much from year 1 to year 2.
Yeah.
Right. So if they're not showing a whole lot of promise from year 1, and these are very bad numbers, Ricardo. I don't know what you have to say about that, but it leaves me wondering how this offensive line is going to be faring against very elite, very top defensive lines.
Yeah, no, Josh McDaniels is really going to have to work some magic here as far as like to help this offensive line out. You can either do play action schemes as far as stuff like that, or short quick passes as well,
right,
to help out that offensive line. And the best way to tire a front four, Jose, is either to run the ball at them or to do some short quick passes so their pass rush wanes down as the game gets closer. So if I'm Josh McDaniels, I take that into account when I have my offensive line going up against, let's say, the other team in the league with amazing pass rushers, the Chargers, for example. You got to strategize, and that's where we're going to see if Josh McDaniels can really be a great coach, be a good enough coach, or if it's the same old thing that it was in Denver and not too much to look forward to. And speaking of that offensive line is definitely going to be the big weakness of the team. However, their defense is looking not too shabby, Jose. I would say probably around top 15 as far as for that defense.
Top 15, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Top 15, maybe top 20. With the addition of Chandler Jones, if anything, if he doesn't produce, he hasn't produced as much throughout the season as you'd like.
Former Cardinal.
Yep. You would have him get more attention to help out Max Crosby to get the pass rusher on the other side.
Right.
And then Jonathan, our guy, Jonathan Abram, Mr. Big Trash Talker, he's doing all right. He's definitely established himself as a hitter in the league. And the secondary is just going to be a matter as far as whether they can play in sync together or they're going to struggle. And linebacker might be one of the weaker areas of the team, specifically for the Raiders. Now, the reason I'm saying this, and there's a bunch of weakness with this Raiders teams, but I have seen them with less players beat the Kansas City Chiefs on the road. They did beat the Chargers last year to get into the playoffs and keep the Chargers out.
That's right.
The Raiders do show up for competition in the division, so that's why I say they're not to be ignored or immediately put into last place. Specifically with the Denver Broncos team that has a lot of moving parts in this first 3 years.
A lot of brand new moving parts.
With a new head coach and with a new quarterback. Now, I know Josh McDaniels would be a new head coach, but he has had experience before running a team.
Right.
He can learn from his mistakes, and Derek Carr is still the leader of this Oakland Raiders team. So that's why I have him set up for third place, Jose. And I don't know if you want to add something more or if you want to just get into the schedule.
We can get right into the schedule. I think that was very well said.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and move on to their schedule here. So week 1, right away, they're going up against Los Angeles.
Very, very tough game. Specifically, going to be an away game. Divisions players can definitely split, but I would say the Chargers are going to win this one.
Yeah, I believe so as well. I mean, this is at SoFi too, so the competition's only going to be heightened on their end. Week 2 is going to be against Arizona.
Their first win of the year, in my opinion.
I see that as well.
Yeah.
Yep. Week 3 is going to be against Tennessee at Nissan Stadium.
If I remember correctly, we gave this one to the Raiders.
We did.
We talked about the Titans.
Yeah, we did give this one to the Raiders. Week 4 is going to be against Denver. Now, Denver is really going to start coming into their own in week 4, I would think, right? And, yes, we keep saying things about they have a new quarterback, right? They have a new quarterback, they have a new head coach, but this quarterback has been all over the league, right? He's won a Super Bowl, right? He's been to 2 of them, right? So he knows what it takes to be where we're supposed to be. Yeah.
I would say, though, if they're going to win one of these games between the Broncos, they would win the one at home.
They would.
Yeah, so I would give this one to the Raiders.
Yeah. All right, so week 5 is going to be at Kansas City. Yeah, it's going to be at Arrowhead. That's going to be another tough game.
Yeah, it's going to be, I would say, a very close, tough loss. But you still got the Raiders looking 3-2 going into the bye week for week 6. But they come off with an easy game on their schedule, going off against the Houston Texans.
That's their second bye week.
Yep, another blowout for them.
Yeah, week 8 is going to be at New Orleans.
Tough road game for them.
Definitely.
Yeah, tough road game. But what have we said, Jose? You don't have a quarterback, you don't have anything. I trust Derek Carr more than I trust Jameis Winston.
All day, every day. Week 9 is going to be at Jacksonville against the Jaguars. I see them winning this one.
I see them winning this one as well.
All right, so week 10 in Indy. This is going to be an interesting one. Yeah, against the Colts. You know how strong that defense is.
Yep.
So I think personally, I think the Raiders will take it, but it'll be by a very, very small margin. It'll be about 3.
Definitely, they do have the better skill position players on the offense, as opposed to Indy having the better offensive line between the two of them.
That's right.
It's just going to be a matter if Derek Carr and Devontae Adams are rolling, they can win a game. Those two specifically for the Raiders against a tough team.
With that, just going back to a quick sidetrack, right?
Yeah.
With that offensive line being the way that it is, Derek Carr. It seems like Derek Carr is really going to have to work on his release time.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's going to have to keep it under 4 seconds, I would say.
No, I would say under 3.
Under 3 even.
Keep it to 2.5 to try to get those pass rushers from getting any opportunities to get to them.
For sure, yeah. But moving on. Okay, so week 11 is going to be at Denver. Now, Denver might win this one. Because this is at Mile High, and I don't think they're going to allow themselves that loss.
With this tough division, with the splits, they typically goes to the home team most of the time.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah. Week 12 at Seattle.
Another bye week. Nice.
Another bye week. Yeah, brilliant for them. Week 13 is going to be Los Angeles.
I say the Chargers are going to sweep them.
As well.
Yeah,
I do say that also. Oh, man. Week 14 is going to be at the Rams this time, at SoFi.
Thursday night game, one of their first couple primetime games that we see here in the schedule. Tough game, going to be the Rams at home. If the Rams don't suffer any specific injuries as Super Bowl champions, like reigning Super Bowl champions tend to do, I could give this one to the Rams.
For sure, yeah, I give this one to the Rams as well. Week 15 is going to be against New England. Now, I don't see New England pulling this one off personally.
Yep.
I do see the Raiders winning this one, especially since they are at home and they do have the stronger team overall.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see that as well.
Yeah. Week 16 is going to be at Pittsburgh.
They would be Pittsburgh in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah. Week 17 is going to be against the Niners. This will be a tough one. Even though they're at home, even though the Raiders are at home, this is going to be a tough one. I see.
I give this one to the Niners.
Same here.
They're just a better team from top to bottom.
Right. Yeah. And week 18 is against Kansas City going into the playoffs.
It's going to be a must-win game for the Raiders. I can see them pulling this off against KC specifically because they're going to be at home.
At home, as well as they just do well under pressure.
Yep.
Now the whole team just does very well under pressure. not a bad record
Nope, not a
for
bad
Vegas.
Yeah.
Not really at all. So, like you said, you believe that they were going to be placed third. I'm going to make my prediction right now. I think I personally believe that Russell Wilson is really going to come out of the woodwork this season, especially with a better, more well-rounded team than he was with in Seattle.
Yeah.
Like I think that Denver could very well beat out Vegas.
Yep.
But that's just my early prediction.
Yeah.
I'm calling that now. All right. Well, with all that being wrapped up, I thought that was going to take a lot longer, but we're saving time for the Chargers later because I know you're going to go off on those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So do not go away. All right, so the Denver Broncos, Ricardo. All right, now our second episode, 20 episodes ago, we talked about Russell Wilson, right? When he was just traded from the Seattle Seahawks over to the Denver Broncos, and we thought, we still firmly believe that he is going to make a big splash over there.
Yep.
He is definitely going to be capable of taking that team somewhere, right? Much further than he would have with Seattle, and especially with the head coaching staff that they have over there. It's just not necessarily working out for them, as well as just their administrative decisions. Those don't really coincide with the best interests of the Seahawks organization.
Pretty much basic common sense. Yes.
That's right. But he isn't in a much better situation now. And the Denver Broncos are looking to be a very strong team this next season.
Yeah.
Right? Now, you said this early on as well in episode 2. I do recall you saying this, Ricardo, that the Denver Broncos are one of the more complete teams in the NFL. Do you still believe that?
I still believe that. Yes, I do. And you can pretty much go from top to bottom as far as from offense to defense. We can start off with the receiving core specifically. Well, let's go in order after the quarterback because we don't have to talk about who Russell Wilson is. We'll do it for a little bit, but we all know who he is at this point.
Right.
Yeah. All right. So you got Javonte Williams being as the starter for the running back for the Denver Broncos. Credible surprise player from last season. It was really going to be Philip Lindsay's job to lose, and he did lose it to Javonte Williams, who's a very reliable running back. Then you got Melvin Gordon, a former Charger, on there as well. Very good speedster.
Flash Gordon.
Yes, exactly. Very good, different type of running back as far as they need. Cortland Sutton is one of the more underrated receivers for the specific Denver Broncos team, just because. They had Drew Lock at quarterback. What did you expect numbers?
Right.
Did you expect to put up? Like even Larry had Kurt Warner for a couple of years to help him develop into his prime. So, and then you got Jerry Jeudy, one of the more fastest receivers in the NFL. It's going to be a very, very interesting, a good combo receiver of Cortland Sutton, the possession receiver, and Jerry Jeudy, the speedster. Now, that's not to say Cortland Sutton is slow. He's definitely a very, very athletic guy. And then they got KJ Hamler, got eager rotation guy looking to prove his worth specifically for the Denver Broncos. And Albert, I'm going to butcher that last name, I'm not even going to try. Albert Okobenham. Good blocking tight end that the Denver Broncos need, specifically with that running game that they're trying to pull off. Garrett Bowles is an underrated left tackle in the NFL, specifically on their offensive line. It might be one of the top in the division as far as how they're looking. Definitely top 10.
For sure.
And no matter what we see available. And that's just to go off of their offensive side of the ball, Jose. They just got a very complete team with solid weapons. It's just a matter if they can put them together and get some winning done.
Right. Yeah, and that's what they were waiting. That's what the receiving corps was waiting for these past few years was just a reliable quarterback.
Yeah.
Peyton Manning. Ever since they lost Peyton Manning, they've just been steadily going downhill as far as their quarterback situation.
And what was their quarterback situation before Peyton Manning? Same thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the Denver Broncos has never really been a team that has a very strong quarterback, right? With the exception of Peyton Manning. But even then, Peyton Manning was with the Colts.
Let me stop you right there really quickly because I know I can hear Bronco fans crying in the background. We're not talking about John Elway, okay?
Yeah.
We know he's the best quarterback in your franchise's history. top 10 at least quarterback, arguably top 5. Okay?
We're talking about this
We're
era.
talking about post John Elway to now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jose.
Exactly. Yeah. So of course we can't go without acknowledging John Elway, right? But we're talking about this era.
Yes.
Right. This era of football. Right. We have seen Peyton Manning come and go in the Denver Broncos organization, and he easily was the strongest addition to that team.
Yeah.
Right. However, as soon as he retired after that win with Super Bowl 50, the team was left in shambles.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and the quarterback spot was taken over by correct me if I'm wrong. It was 3 or 4 quarterbacks.
It was a carousel, is what it was.
It pretty much
It was
was.
a carousel. I'm trying to remember the names of the guys, but I really can't.
It's really it's really hard to remember. It's tough to remember the names, but
they drafted Paxton Lynch at one point from Memphis just because he's a tall guy.
That's right.
And but yeah, point being is that quarterback has very big in the weakness, so they've been able to improve the team itself consistently. Just couldn't find their number quarterback.
And now they paid a huge price for Russell Wilson.
Yes.
Yeah, who has been easily the star of the Seattle Seahawks since he was drafted, right?
Yep.
And that was around 2012, 2013.
His rookie season was 2012, so I would say the 2012 draft. But it's going to be very, very interesting to watch because for the past 5 years, I would say, ever since the 49 Super Bowl and after Beast Mode left and the Legion of Boom was just like dismantled and disintegrating, it was very much Russell Wilson trying his best to push his team over the top, trying to overcompensate for the weaknesses that were there. It's going to be interesting to see if he can just take a moment to step back a little bit and let his talented players help him out too, because he doesn't have to be Superman for this team. He has plenty of talent as far as what he can, what they want to do on the offensive side. Now, Nathaniel Hackett from the Green Bay Packers is their new head coach.
That's right.
It's going to be very interesting as far as what kind of scheme he wants to run. If he's going to be Russell centric, or if he's going to be like, let's keep it balanced. Let's try to make it easy as we can for Russell and make him look even better. Like add him for some more stuff, and that's really, Jose. That's one of my concerns for this team. It's just how are they going to mesh together, especially with a first-time head coach.
Right.
Like I said, I know the Raiders have a new head coach, but Josh McDaniels has been a coach before. He's able to learn from his mistake. It's his first year for this head coach, which is going to be very interesting as far as how he handles the offense, what decisions he's going to make when the pressure's in his face right there, and he's trying to figure out how to win closely in games. So I say it's going to take him a year to figure it out, but make no mistake about it. This division is going to be the best division in football for the next 5 years, at least. Easily. But that's just my main concern for the Broncos of this year. After that, it's going to be anybody's toss-up as far as who wins that year. It's going to be a rubber match specifically to see which they might, Jose, they should try to make 3 division games for these players alone, just to try to, because it's going to be very, very close, just to see who gets that top spot in the AFC West. But Russell Wilson adding to it. You got a future Hall of Famer, no doubt about it, trying to win another Super Bowl, trying to prove his worth, trying to get an NFL MVP. And I honestly think he can do that if he has the right system around him and he just is able to take a step back. Not focus too much, because we see this early on in the season, Jose, where he has let Russell cook movement and he's flaming and he's on fire, and then it dies down a little bit because every defensive coordinator adjusts to what he's doing.
It's not a sustainable approach at all, and we've seen the effects of that when he was the last couple of years that he was with Seattle, right? They allowed him to do this, and it became so predictable to the point where, like you said, defensive coordinators were able to adjust to that play style. Right? So let's hope that this new head coach is able to keep things balanced.
Yes.
Right? And that's what we continue to say every single week on this podcast is, hey, with each team needs to be as balanced as they possibly can.
Yeah.
You can't allow the offense to be on the field all the time. You can't allow the defense to be on the field all the time.
Exactly.
Right? So that's not to say, again, just like the Raiders, just like any other team, this team is not without its weaknesses, and their biggest weakness is easily their pass rush.
Yep.
Right? So maybe you can elaborate a little more on that.
No, absolutely. Randy Gregory, I can count as him as much as I can count for it to rain here in Arizona, Jose. So my point being this is that guy misses game more like it's his job as opposed to rushing the quarterback.
Right.
Very, very impressive specimen, very impressive pass rusher for the Dallas Cowboys. But why did they get rid of him? Undisciplined and unable to stay on the field.
Right.
Getting suspended, whether it be whatever reason, getting injured. plenty of penalties and flags. Specifically, we don't have to count how many for the Dallas Cowboys. But the talent is there. That's why they got him. The pass rush movement is there, and they're hoping that he's in there in the playoffs to make some key specific plays. I don't trust him. I cannot trust him. He has proven too much for me in his career that he cannot be trusted, and he is their best pass rusher. You got a very bunch of young green guys, Jose, at the defensive line position, which is very disappointing because there was a point where you had Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. That front four, when they won the Super Bowl, that was incredible. Veteran guys, not too old, but very consistent pass rushers. This is very, very different from the Denver Broncos of that Super Bowl team. And like you said, it's going to be a very interesting pass rush as far as they do. I honestly, dude, I see them being at the bottom of the league as far as generating pressure. Now, they might get coverage checks here and there because their secondary is outstanding with Patrick Surtain making another leap inbound into that, but I'll get into that a little later. Bradley Chubb, it's Bradley Chubb and Randy Gregory. It's going to be interesting how they do, but the Denver Broncos have been able to win previously because of the strength in the middle of that defense. Their D tackles are all young guys, and we'll see how they do against the run. And what I always tell you, Jose, as far as pass rushers, there's two ways to beat them: running game and quick passes. To slow down a pass rush. Specifically with a pass rush that isn't as good. They definitely. It's gonna be very interesting. They run a 3-4, so it might help them out to blitz some linebackers. But like we said, to the average people who don't know a 3-4, 3-4s mean when you have 3 down linemen in the line of scrimmage and you have 4 linebackers lined up right behind them.
Right.
But to close off quickly on that pass rush, it's going to be very, very difficult.
It will be, and it's very interesting to see where the Las Vegas Raiders are at.
Yeah,
they're going to be dealing with a lot of pressure since they have a lot of trouble on the offensive line.
Yeah,
and the Denver Broncos are going to have a hard time getting in there, right? So they're going to be giving their opposing quarterbacks, a lot of time to be able to throw that ball around.
Oh yeah,
right. So, and as you say, defenses win championships.
Yep.
Right, and they certainly have. That has certainly been proven time and time again. So. We're not seeing them making a very deep playoff run, but they could very well make the playoffs.
They definitely could. But it's just, like I said, it's just first year quarterback with the first new system. That's why I say I give them until next year to pick up some new pieces as far as how they're looking. But let me just get into the secondary. It's looking outstanding, Jose.
Oh, sure.
You got Ronald Darby as the veteran cornerback, a good veteran presence to help calm down some of the younger guys. Patrick Surtain second, he's going to look like a perennial Pro Bowler, Jose.
Yeah.
He's very, very impressive, and he was certainly worth the pick where they got him from. Kareem Jackson as the safety, very, very good. Justin Simmons, one of the best safeties in the NFL. I could go on. The man can be a run support and still cover back in the secondary for deep passes. It's just...
So you're most definitely not going to be getting a whole lot of deep passes in on this team.
No, you are not.
Yeah.
No, you are not. But you might be able to slip a couple ones because you can beat the pass rush.
You can.
Yeah. Secondaries can't hold on forever.
Right.
Specifically with the athletes in the NFL, it's way too damn hard.
It is.
Yeah. So, but that secondary is definitely the teeth and the strength of that defense. And it's going to be very interesting to see because they're definitely going to be, I can see them top 10. Easily top 10. It's just going to matter if they can be a top 5 defense.
For sure.
Yeah, so I know I keep throwing top 10, top 5 defenses, but I'm saving it for the very good teams, and this is definitely one of the better teams in the NFL.
Yeah, as far as the secondary goes.
Yeah.
And their offense. It's just that pass rush that needs quite a bit of work.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and move on to their schedule.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. So while we pull that up, now, if you really enjoy what you're listening, everyone, please do not hesitate to subscribe to the channel, as well as follow our Instagram at RJTalks_11 for all of the updates on any one of our uploads. If you have any suggestions on how to make this podcast better, go right ahead and leave a comment right down below. Thank you so much. All right, so the regular season, week 1, it's a very interesting game, a very interesting rivalry game.
Very, very, very big revenge game for Russell Wilson because he's going against a team that did not do the best that they could to try to surround them with the necessary players and talent to win in there. I see this being a very big blowout for the Denver Broncos.
For sure. He's going to be coming out on fire.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Week 1 at Seattle.
Yeah.
An easy win for Denver.
Yeah.
Week 2 is going to be against Houston. If I remember correctly, we gave this to Denver.
Yeah, it's going to be an easy start for them. A good, nice 2-0 is feeling good about themselves as far as how they're doing.
Especially since Denver is at home for this game as well.
Yeah.
Week 3, their first tough game of the season is going to be against the Niners.
Their first tough test, yeah, that's going to be a very tough game.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm giving this to San Fran, even though they have the younger quarterback. I believe they're better built to match the Broncos as far as what they're better at doing.
Right.
The Niners defense, it's hard to find a weakness in it.
It is.
If it is a weakness, it'd be the linebacker position. But it's just a matter as far as like if they're going to run the ball more. But you got Nick Bosa on that end. You got a bunch of players that
the better out of the Bosa brothers.
The better out
for
of the
sure.
Bosa brothers, and you got the better head coach out of the two.
Yeah, you do.
You got the son of the legendary head coach for that Denver Broncos team in Kyle Shanahan, and a better at run game
For that Niners team.
No. Sorry. Mike Shanahan was the Broncos head coach.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. I'm sorry. But Kyle Shanahan, his son, is with the Niners. Sorry.
That's right.
That's what I meant to say. But my point being is that very tough offensive minded stop, and I can see them making it a little bit easier. I can see them pulling the upset at home against them.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Now week 4 is going to be at Vegas against the Raiders. This will be their first division game.
Yeah.
Yeah. This will be their first division game. They're one of the few teams that are starting one of their division games late.
Yeah,
end of the season.
No, yeah, and I think you and me might I think this is where we disagreed with specifically with the Raiders. I can see the Raiders winning this one, but I do believe you see the Broncos winning this one.
I do.
Right? Yeah.
I do see the Broncos. I do see the Broncos winning this one, but again, it's going to be by a very small margin. The split comes down to home field.
Yep.
Right now, for me, again, I do see Denver coming into their own early into the season.
Mm-hmm.
However, I don't want to be too unrealistic and say that they're going to blow them out or anything like that. It will definitely be a very close
You're
game.
a realistic fan like me.
That's right. I would like to think so.
Yeah.
Week 5 is going to be against the Indianapolis Colts.
Tough test.
At Mile High.
Tough test specifically for the Denver Broncos. I can see them pulling this out.
I can see them doing it too,
home.
only because they are at home.
Yeah.
If they were at Lucas Oil, not a chance.
Yeah.
Week 6 is going to be at Los Angeles, at SoFi. I see LA's defense really putting a stop to Denver.
Really putting a stranglehold on them as far as like how they're doing, specifically with Brandon Staley as the head coach, who's a very big defensive mastermind. He was defensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Rams.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. It's going to be a matchup as far as like great matchup, and as far as the weapons, we'll get into it later. But I see LA, the Chargers, having the better weapons and younger quarterback, but he's been in the system longer. That's going to be the main difference. Not saying that he's better than Russell Wilson, but he's been in the system longer than Russell Wilson has, and he's just. Chemistry is a real thing, Jose.
It truly is. We've already talked about that. Plenty of times.
Chemistry can affect games specifically, so that's why I am giving this one to the Chargers. Not an easy win by any stretch.
No, not at all. And I do see the Chargers winning this one for one big reason, and that's because of Denver's weakness at the pass rush. They're going to be giving Justin Herbert nothing but time. Unfortunately,
he's already
they won't be able to
quarterback as well.
That's right. Yeah, so they won't be. It's going to be very hard for them to penetrate that offensive line on LA's end
and force them to make some mistakes as well.
That's right. Yeah. Week 7 is going to be against the Jets at Mile High. This will be an easy win.
Looks like they're going to have 3 bye weeks in a row. This doesn't seem fair, Jose. But
it truly doesn't.
But yeah, against the Jets, it's going to be a good, easy win to get their recuperate and get their bones going here.
Yeah, get their confidence up a little bit. Week 8 is going to be at Jacksonville. That's their second bye week.
Yeah.
And then they have Week 9, an actual bye week where they don't play anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Week 10 is going to be at Tennessee. If I remember correctly, we did say that Denver would beat them, even though the Tennessee Titans are at home.
It's because they're the better team than Tennessee at the moment, and they definitely have without question the better quarterback.
Absolutely.
So then he's going to have some experience with the players already around him. It is going to be a good road one for them.
For sure. Yeah. Week 11 against Vegas.
They're winning that game against Las Vegas. They're going to...
Definitely. We did agree to that one.
Yeah.
Week 12 is going to be at Carolina.
A top 5 pick for next year's NFL draft, the Carolina Panthers. Broncos are going to bowl them out.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Week 13 is going to be at Baltimore. Now,
Tough game.
this was going to be, yes, yeah, most definitely. But we did say that this was going to be one of Baltimore's losses, if I remember correctly.
Yes, we did.
Yeah, because Baltimore's schedule is so ridiculously easy going into this next season, where they're playing a few good teams, and this is just one of those good teams. Yeah. So they may be getting a little too confident going into this week. Week 14, and it may cost them. Week 14 will be against Kansas City at Mile High. Yeah, this is going to be a very tough divisional game.
It's a very late divisional game as well.
Deep in the season for both of them. Yeah. So I can see, just because they're at home, I'm giving it the split. I'll give it the split as well. Just very close game. Specifically, not by any means that KC is going to look bad in this game. No.
But just because rivalry games are very, very hard. And give them the split.
Yeah, we'll give them the split there. Week 15 is going to be against Arizona.
Another blowout for them. We'll be right
for sure. Yeah. Week 16, another one of their tough games is going to be at SoFi against the Rams, the reigning Super Bowl champs. So this could be...
I can see them beating the Rams.
I could see them beating the Rams as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since that's if the Rams don't get hit with that post-win.
Yeah.
With that post-Super Bowl win fatigue.
Yeah.
Right.
Or injuries.
As well. Yeah. Week 17, Happy New Year to us. That's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs at Arrowhead.
Yeah, Kansas City's going to win one of these games, whether it's going to be... But preferably the safest bet is that they're going to win the one at home.
Right. Yeah. And then week 18 going into the playoffs is going to be against the Chargers. They will be at home, though. They will be in complete form, right? But it is against the Chargers, and they will also be in complete form as well.
So my thing is that it's just a matter if they play their backups or not. And I don't see Brandon Staley doing something like that. He's never one to play it safe. I.e. his fourth down calling. I'm
giving this one to the Chargers.
I'm going with my gut here. I'll give it to the Chargers as well.
Yeah. Again, I mean, just solid record, really.
Yeah.
And I see this happening for the next two teams in this division as well. I mean, they so far so good for this division.
It might honestly come down to those divisional games as far as who's gonna place. Where each team's going to place.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. All right, so stay there. Do not go away. Next, we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs.
We'll be right back.
The team that is led by Patrick Mahomes, right?
Yeah.
The team that lost their star receiver, unfortunately, but we're not counting them out just yet. All right. Currently, right now, we are placing them as second place in this division.
Reason being is that it feels like if there was a year for the Chargers to win this division, it would be now. Specifically because Kansas City is losing one of their best players, and they're going to be trying to recover and adjust to that. But that doesn't mean Kansas City is by any means not a playoff threat to anybody. They still got Patrick Mahomes. And if he is...
As well as Travis Kelce.
Yeah, if he is what we think he is, he's still a future Hall of Famer potentially, and then hard to beat. I mean, we saw it last year. The Buffalo Bills Super Bowl dreams were ruined because of Patrick Mahomes and Tyreek Hill. But let's go ahead and get right into it as far as the big elephant in the room, Jose. Tyreek Hill, as much as I don't like him personally, I won't let that get in the way as far as how he is on the field. Man can be considered a cheat code, a video game kind of cheat code in an NFL game.
Absolutely.
He terrifies every single secondary. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the year they won the Super Bowl, the regular season game, they tried to man up Tyreek Hill one-on-one with their best corner. He had about 200 yards in the first quarter receiving. Just burning them out. And He is one of the more amazing deep threats in NFL history, and he is very, very important to what the Kansas City Chiefs love to do, because they're a very big fan of making big time throws, entertainment throws, flashy throws.
Right.
Mahomes rolling to his right, passing it across the field to his left, because Tyreek Hill can somehow get open, whether it's running across the field or whether it's going deep. He's a very key part to that offense. Now, we don't know why this happened, but this is how it happened. He got greedy. He wanted to get more money. He wanted to be one of the highest paid wide receivers in the league, whereas opposed to understanding that he has arguably the best quarterback in the league, you at the very minimum top 2 or 3, like depending on how you're going to rank them.
Yeah.
And a very, very good head coach who puts him in very good positions to get open. I don't know why, but he just got greedy and he decided to leave the team and go to the Miami Dolphins. We already talked about how that's going to go, so I'm not going to go into further detail there.
Not really.
My point is that this guy has been able to distract coverage and take coverage away from open targets for the Kansas City team, specifically Travis Kelce. Travis Kelce, who was arguably the best tight end in the NFL. It's either between him and Kittle. You and I had this discussion a couple days ago. Honestly, I personally prefer Kittle over Kelce, just because as a pure tight end, I think Kittle's the better of the two. But that's not going to happen anymore. If I am a defensive coordinator, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring my safety down, single high. I'm going to force those receivers to beat me, and I will not let Travis Kelce beat me by any means imaginable. Whichever line of the formation he lines up Jose in the line of scrimmage, I'm going to have my defensive end or linebacker jam him hard on the line. I'm going to have my safety one-on-one with him, and I'm going to have some zone as far as with there. I am not going to let this guy beat me. I'm pretty much going to throw the kitchen sink at him and force Mahomes to choose somewhere else. This is why you need Tyreek Hill, Jose, because he is such a threat to the secondary that don't let Tyreek Hill beat us. No matter what, you still got an all-pro tight end, Travis Kelce, over the middle, getting catches, and being able to beat it. And even then, sometimes Tyreek Hill will get wide open. And I think you and I both agree on this. It's going to be a rude awakening for that offense as far as like how it's going to be to score with the ease that they had, specifically in the Patrick Mahomes era. It's going to be very, very key. And this would be different if they were to, say, replace him with like a top 5, top 10, top 15 receiver in the league. But they chose Juju Smith-Schuster as their number 1, who we both know he's not a number 1. He is a good number 2. He's an number 1. He's okay.
Yeah.
And then Marquez Valdez-Scantling and McCole Hardman. Now, of those 3 receivers, Jose, are any of them in the top 15?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
No.
So you're very forcing Mahomes to make very key throws, very tight throws, and very good reads. And honestly, I'm excited to see, because it might be his next step developing as a quarterback, but it's going to be very, very tough, to say the least.
It will be.
I mean, I've been pretty much hogging the time right here. What do you think about this?
No. I mean, no. I just like listening to this. Now, for those of you that don't know, I've known Ricardo for the better part of like 10, 11 years.
Yeah.
Right. So I know when he's on one. Yeah, and he was on one. So when he is, I just listen. I just sit back and I just listen. So I definitely do have my thoughts about that. Now, when we've had discussions off the mic. Mm-hmm. about this very issue.
Yes.
Right? And the conclusion that I have come to, if I were a head coach or if I were even a quarterback coach, right, I would help Patrick Mahomes develop his football IQ, right, as well as his technique, right, because it's been very easy, like you said, it's been very easy for him to make those long, deep throws to Tyreek Hill. Right? So since that piece is now taken away and moved somewhere else, he really has to rely on his short game, right? His short game and his technique. So that's the time that I would spend on Patrick Mahomes. Luckily for him, though, right? He has the strength of a solid offensive line on his end, right? So whether or not he's going to develop or not, he has plenty of time in that pocket, right? Now, we may expect this next season his release time to go up.
Yep.
Right? It's not going to be leaving his hands as fast as it usually did this past season. Right? Now, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but that's something that I do anticipate. Right? Simply because he has some solid protection. He needs, however, to be a what's the word? Not a strong arm quarterback, but a
decisive.
A decisive
methodical.
Quarterback. A decisive, methodical quarterback, exactly. A pocket passer.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I was looking for. He needs to be a pocket passer. Right? He has to sit in the pocket, he has to look at his options, and he needs to think before he does something. Right? Now, that football is a very act in the moment. It's a very observant sport.
Yeah.
Right? You need to act in the moment, you need to make decisions in the moment, right? And that's where you need to live. However, he needs to make sure that he needs to take care that he doesn't make any impulsive decisions in those moments.
Yeah.
And he needs to think about what kinds of obstacles are going to be coming his way before he steps onto the field.
Yeah. And we're not dumb people here. We know he's an NFL MVP.
Absolutely.
We know he's won a Super Bowl MVP.
Absolutely. There's no doubt he won that fair and square as well.
Yes.
Let's add that.
Yeah, we're not saying he's not by any means one of the best quarterbacks in the league. What we're saying is that he has a weakness like every quarterback. And he's going to have to improve his weaknesses to make it nearly impossible to stop him.
Right.
He's going to have to play more Tom Brady style where it's read the defense more, anticipate where your play is going to be. If that's not open, where's your safety option? Throw it to your safety option as opposed to what he's usually done in the past, which is buy time. Oh, Tyreek's maybe getting open. Oh, Travis is actually open. Buy time. Throw it deep and get rid of it. No, he's going to have to play a more disciplined game. People forget against that Cincinnati AFC championship. AFC was killing them, and they got greedy. And the Cincinnati Bengals were able to stop him before the half happened. And what happened specifically to the Chiefs? People might say, oh, Patrick Mahomes got a little bit caught up in the moment. He choked. I don't think he choked. I think he struggled. Reason being is because he relied too much on Patrick Mahomes. I got to make the big play. I got to make sure we get a big play here, leads, and score a touchdown here. As opposed to we got to score a touchdown on this drive, as opposed to the mindset of let's get the first down here. Okay, another first down here. Another first down here. Okay, we're in field goal range. I can't take a sack, so let's try to see what's open here. The more disciplined, methodical game is what we're saying here, people. So we understand that Patrick Mahomes is a great quarterback. We're saying he could be even greater if he learns to play that game with less weapons around him.
And don't get us wrong, we are very excited to see that.
Yeah.
If he is able this next season to come into his own and just be a better quarterback, holy crap. I mean, he has, as far as quarterbacks go, he would have the league right in his hand.
It's going to be impossible to stop him. Yeah.
He would have the league right in his hands.
Yes.
Right in his fingertips. And just not giving any disrespect to Tom Brady, right? But his time will be coming up here shortly, right?
Yeah.
It'll be, we both gave him another 2-3 years at the most, right?
Yeah, I say after the fiasco that went on for this Packers off season, my personal opinion right now, I think this might be it. I think this might be his last dance, but he just hasn't said it officially because if you think about retirement, dude, if you're able to win it one more time or do great, you're like, you know what? Let's end it on there. Why ruin it,
Right.
So,
So with that being said, Tom Brady is on the end of his rope.
Yeah.
That's the point that we're making,
yeah.
right? So now that Tom Brady is going to be at the end of his rope, he will be forever immortalized as the greatest football player of all time, right? But Patrick Mahomes is going to start coming into his own. I am not, okay, let me make myself very clear. I am not predicting for him to become the next greatest of all time. I'm not predicting that he's going to be the next Tom Brady.
No, of course.
Right? All that I'm saying is that if he becomes a better quarterback this next year and becomes very methodical and decisive, much like Tom Brady is in the game, he has the league in his hands.
Yes. And people forget, dude, is that it's very, very hard to win. Tom Brady makes it look easy. Every other year, go to the AFC Championship, go to a Super Bowl, win more Super Bowls than you lose some. It's very hard. That's not normal. We just saw the game last year against the Bengals. Anything could happen. You could lose to the quote unquote team you were supposed to win on paper.
Right.
So if Patrick Mahomes develops more as a quarterback, it's going to help him more win. It's going to make Chiefs fans very happy because they're like, how are you going to stop us?
Right.
But Mahomes can play the short, consistent, methodical game, and he can throw it over your head and blow you up, score 40 at least. So that's what we want to see. If he can take that next step to just be okay and be patient, to take what the defense is giving him and be okay. You know what? It's going to be a punt this drive, but we got field position and our defense might stop him and we have a better chance as far as for quarterbacks, because he does not have that many good players at the wide receiver position. He just doesn't. You got a TikTok star right there. Marquez Valdez-Scantling is a good number 2 at the very most. He's okay. Then you got McCole Hardman, who hasn't proven anything to me yet. McCole Hardman, he's been with the Kansas City Chiefs. It's going to be his 3rd year there. It's going to be make or break for him as far as how he's going to look as a player.
Yeah, and that's a name that you hear often, but there's really no weight to it.
Yes.
Right? Now, it's great that you mentioned the defense, because that is a fantastic segue into the weaknesses of this team, right?
Yeah.
The biggest weakness being their edge rushers.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, so maybe you can elaborate a little more on that one.
Well, here's the thing. To the people at home who don't get it, Chris Jones is not an edge rusher. He's a defensive tackle. Sometimes he lines up as a DN, but his main position is inside.
Right.
And he's the best player on your defense. So you got Frank Clark and Mike Ganna on the edge rushers. Frank Clark, who cost Kansas City a Super Bowl appearance because he lined up offsides in overtime against Tom Brady.
My goodness.
And Mike Dana, who I honestly, I don't know who this kid is, but what's the thing with young players, Jose? It takes them a while to develop, and it's going to be hard. Like, they don't make that big of a splash unless they're very, very potential great players.
And speaking of young players,
Yeah.
they picked up one in the draft this past year, right, in the first round.
Yeah.
Mr. Trent McDuffie.
Yeah, very, 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 very key player as far as how they're looking. I'm very impressed as far as keep getting him in the draft and making him a great player. I just wish they kept Honey Badger, dude. If they kept Honey Badger on that defense and they offered him a contract, they would still have that veteran presence, that captain of the defense, still be able to compete in the secondary.
For sure.
But now they're just really young, and they're really young specifically. Not necessarily that these secondary players are necessarily bad, but they're just young. Justin Reed, he's an okay safety. He's doing all right. Juan Thornhill, I believe this might be one of his first times like starting a full season. Ladarius Sneed, he's hot and he's cold. I know who Ladarius Sneed is. He's either has a great game or he gets burned deep a lot more.
Sure.
And then, but yeah, pretty much I've stumbled onto the cornerbacks, but the pass rush, as you're saying, it's very weak on this team as well. Frank Clark is okay, but you can't rely on him to be your number one, and you just need one more quarterback killer to help out that defense.
For sure.
That's pretty much what it is, specifically when they play a 4-3 defense. 4-3, like we talked about in the past part, 4 down linemen, 3 linebackers behind them.
Definitely.
And I mean, I could keep going. It's just it's going to be very interesting as far as how this defense plays, and the Chiefs are going to have to play smart, not necessarily be like, all right, we're going to score it all 3 and out. Okay, defense out there. No, they're going to have to think, okay, we have to try to help our defense and be on the field more.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to be the offense's game for this next season as with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we spent a lot of time talking about Patrick Mahomes as well as the offense, and touched on the defense simply because they're going to be one of the weaker points of this team.
Oh, yeah.
So it's going to take a lot of development for them, but that's not to say that we still are changing their placement. They're still going to be a second-place team in that division.
Not by any means. There may be second place, but they would be first place in the other divisions.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, let's go ahead and move on to their schedule here.
Yeah.
All right. Week 1 is going to be at Arizona. They are the season openers.
Yep.
Yep.
They're going to win this game. It's going to be a cocky Kyler Murray with no DeAndre Hopkins to help him out. I prefer Patrick Mahomes to win this game over Kyler.
For sure. Yeah. I feel the same exact way.
Yeah.
Now, week 2 is going to be versus the Chargers. That's going to be at Arrowhead.
It's going to be a tough game. Definitely the two vying for the division crown, but I have too much respect for both teams to declare a sweep either way. So I say the Chiefs win this first game at home.
I say the Chiefs as well, only because the Chargers defense, as strong as it looks, it's still new for people like Khalil Mack.
Exactly.
All right, so it's going to take some time for them to come into that.
Plus, J.C. Jackson might not be back in time to play the Chiefs.
Correct. Yeah. Week 3 is going to be at Indianapolis at Lucas Oil. This will be a very, very interesting game.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially with that Colts defense as strong as it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see Kansas City losing this one.
It's because it's the Colts, and they're still going to have to adjust as far as this new identity for them. Kansas City losing to the Colts.
For sure.
Yeah.
Week 4, another really tough game. Tampa Bay at Raymond James. Yeah.
I say
Tampa Bay
because who was the first person to try to unlock the key to stopping Mahomes? Todd Bowles.
That's right.
And he's the head coach now.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
All right. Week 5 is going to be against Vegas, and this is still going to be at Arrowhead. I see
the Chiefs winning this game.
As do I.
Yeah.
Yeah. Week 6 is going to be against Buffalo. This is going to be a very tough game for Kansas City. If I remember correctly, we gave this one to the Bills.
Yep, Buffalo's still going to have that 13-second drive in their mind. They're not going to want to lose this game.
Absolutely not. No. Now, if for whatever reason they do, that will really set Kansas City forward.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for the rest of the season.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Week 7 is going to be at Levi Stadium against the Niners.
Yeah, I don't remember who we gave this to specifically, but with the young quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, the defense. This is so hard, but this is what makes it great. It's a hard decision.
If anything, I definitely give this one to the Niners. I would give this one to the Niners only because Shanahan really understands his offense and he knows how to attack defenses with a vengeance.
I would say because the Kansas City defense is looking very weak compared to the Niners.
Exactly. Yeah. So week 8, going into the bye week, a loss, unfortunately. But week 9, they're going to come back fresh and they're going to face the Titans and the Jaguars, one after the other.
It's going to be a win, both of those games, in my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely a win going to be for both of them, and it's going to be a good, refreshing start for the two of them on there.
Yeah. Week 11 is going to be at Los Angeles.
Now,
the Chargers.
I don't care what people say. It's going to be a split, and it's going to be the Chargers winning that game close to Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Week 12 is going to be another LA team. It's going to be against the Rams. Yeah, but it is at Arrowhead, though. Yeah, but if the Rams do not suffer the Super Bowl winning fatigue, they will win this game.
I'll be optimistic for them. I'll give them this one against the Rams.
Yeah,
give them to them.
Week 13 at Cincinnati. This is going to be a revenge game after last season.
Yeah, it is going to be a revenge game. Very, very tough. It's just going to matter to be how Cincinnati's looking.
Cincinnati's offense is looking specifically.
Now, Joe Burrow, he's currently on a win streak against Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be hard for him to overcome that, specifically at Cincinnati. Who are they going to get to? Coverage of Ja'Marr Chase is my whole thing.
Right. Yeah, that's what they're going to have. Yeah. That's definitely what they're going to have to do.
Yeah.
With Kansas City's secondary being the less weak aspect of their defense.
Yeah.
It's going to be quite a challenge.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
For Cincinnati. But if I had to pick one, I would give this one to the Chiefs.
Barely, but
by that much. Yeah. And that's only because I don't think they would allow themselves to lose after last year.
No.
Yeah. Now week 14 is going to be against Denver at Mile High.
Man, the AFC West is getting a lot of late division games here.
It is, man. Yeah, it's like the NFL was knowing what they were doing with the schedule, man.
Yeah. Mile High is definitely one of the teams that definitely has that home field advantage. I'll give it to Denver.
We did give it to Denver.
Yeah.
If I remember. Yeah, we did give it to Denver. Week 15 is going to be at Houston. Easy game for them.
Yep.
Week 16, easy against Seattle. Week 17, deeper into the season against Denver. It is going to be at Arrowhead. I'm giving this one to the Chiefs.
Me too.
Yeah. Week 18, last game of the season for the regular season for Kansas City. Against Vegas, at Vegas. This will be a tough one.
But it's going to determine who's second and third place in that division, most likely. So I would give it to Kansas City.
I would give it to Kansas City also. So again,
great record.
Another very, very good record. Yeah. Going into ending the regular season there. Now let's get to your favorite team for this next season, Ricardo.
Yep.
Yeah, the Los Angeles Chargers. So
Absolutely.
Do not go away for that. And now, the moment all of the Ricardo has been waiting for, right? The Los Angeles Chargers is easily going to be his number 2 team for this next season. Now, it's just going to be this next season, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you're still all about Arizona, just not this next season, right?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Might be 2 years. We'll see how this year goes.
Every single one of us, all NFL fans out there is no shame in really rooting for another team if your team is just not doing that well.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. One of my roommates is a huge baseball fan, right? Mm-hmm. His team is terrible right now. And he himself is rooting for the New York Mets.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
okay.
So.
Without that being said. All right. This is.
So my point being, NFL fans, it's okay.
It's okay.
All right. Pick another team.
That's all right. That doesn't make them your team. You're just rooting for that team to win.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay. Now, Los Angeles Chargers missing the playoffs last year. You could be asking me, Jose, you could be asking me, like, why do you like this team so much, Ricardo? Why do you think they have a really good chance as far as, like, making a deep playoff run?
I've been asking myself that for the past few weeks now.
Yes.
Yeah. But then I read up a little bit and I go, oh yeah, yep, I get it.
My thing is that the next QB rivalry could be very well in this division as well with Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes. I mean,
for sure,
kid can play. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Justin Herbert can play in this league, and he is definitely very, very excellent. One of the top young QBs. People had him as one of the higher up QBs until Joe Burrow came out and led this team to winning. And that's honestly what's separating Justin Herbert between the other young QBs, is leading his team to win and possibly making a deep run.
Right.
Now, by no any means was he this guy in college. I saw this guy play live, Jose. I saw him playing against ASU, and I'm like, okay, he's all right. He's whatever. He's like, okay, all right, good college quarterback. Out of nowhere, this monster plays in the NFL. Is like, yeah, I am here. I am here to play, and no one's gonna be that much better than me. He's doing a great job so far.
Yeah.
So this kid is coming into his own, and I believe, if I remember correctly, if it's his 4th year in the league, it's opposed to his 3rd. But point being, he has the potential to be great.
Yeah,
he has the talent to be great. He has some more of the discipline to be great, and he makes some plays where you're like, my goodness. Like, where is this coming from?
Yeah, this kid looks very strong, and the great thing about the Chargers is that that's not even their strongest. That's not even the strongest aspect of the team.
Yeah,
the strongest aspect is easily their edge rushers.
Yeah,
yeah,
and this is when you build a team, Jose. This is what you look for. You need a quarterback who's going to lead your franchise. Check. Kid's going into his 3rd year, and look how impressive he looks. Right. Specifically, I just confirmed this is going to be his 3rd season in this league. You need a left tackle. They got that. They drafted him, Rashawn Slater. Very, very surprising. Like, no one thought he was going to be that much good of a protector for Justin Herbert. Incredible. Looks great. Could be potential to probably be one of the top offensive linemen in the league. Mm-hmm. And you need quarterback killers, which are pass rushers. Now, they had Joey Bosa for years and years, but my goodness.
That's all they had, though.
That's all they had. With the addition of Khalil Mack, Jose. Oh, boy. When you have 2 pass rushers that can get to the quarterback, it's going to help a lot in the playoffs because you need to get that pressure and you need to get sacks. Specifically in the Super Bowl, we saw what pass rushing can do to influence a game. Now, I'm not going to get to the defense yet, which honestly might make me the most excited about the team. But Justin Herbert, he's got a very dependable and reliable running back with Austin Eckler, who can catch, he can run, guy can do it all. He can be a 3rd down back. You don't have to take him off the field. He can stay on the field for each individual down for the Chargers. Got Keenan Allen, number 1 receiver, one of the better route runners that's come in the league. Mike Williams, you got the big body receiver who can make possession catches. Very, very interesting as far as what they're going to do. I don't know why they have Palmer ahead of Guyton, but Jalen Guyton last year was specifically one of the better receivers. Yes, I know this team not well, Jose. I see them play. Now, Now, Jalen Guyton as a 3rd receiver, probably a bit better option. With the addition of adding Gerald Everett from the Los Angeles Rams, a great and dependable tight end for dump-off passes, safety passes, your checkdowns. When Austin Eckler's covered, you got your security blanket, big target in the end zone, whether it be Mike Evans or Gerald Everett. Mm-hmm. Very, very interesting. And they're going to need to run the ball more. Don't get me started on that. They're going to have to run the ball more and play short game, not necessarily rely on Justin Herbert, just like the Bills rely on Josh Allen or just like the Chiefs rely on Patrick Mahomes. To win and win big, they need to be a balanced offense and show all the strengths of their team.
For sure.
And their offensive line is very, very exceptional and incredible. They're going to protect Justin Herbert and give him just the amount of times to show the reads that he needs to make. And I could keep talking for another hour, guys, but as far as how it's going, but I got to give Jose here a chance to chime in.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to their weakness,
Yes.
right? And their biggest weakness is their interior defensive line. So when you're on defensive line, right, it depends on the type of scheme that you're working. It's either a 3-4 or a 4-3.
Yeah.
Right?
They are a 3-4.
They are a 3-4.
Yes.
Yeah, so that means 3 down linemen.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah, so those 3 down linemen, say they were to, would it be possible for them to change that, right? So like for a single play, would it be possible to have 4 down linemen, or is it very rare for that to happen?
It's rare to happen specifically for deep corners because they're very, very, like, coaches are very, very particular about what they run. Mm-hmm. Because it's like, that's my name out there, that we're going to run the best thing that I know how to do my way.
Well, especially when you have those strong men on, those strong linebackers on the 4.
Yes.
Yeah, on top, right? But you still have your edge rushers as well, right? So those guys that are lining up that as nose tackles, right tackles, left tackles, right? D tackles.
Yes.
Right. Those are the guys that suffer the most on this team, right? So you have your edge rushers, right? You have your linebackers, right? Those guys are all solid. It's just those middle guys that are going to have some trouble. And we're going to see that we're going to be, hopefully we won't be seeing too much of that weakness against those
run first
heavy,
team.
those run first offensive schemes, right? Those heavy run schemes. Yeah.
Now, Joseph Day is probably the better out of the interior linemen that they have, but yes, you are right. That is definitely the weakness of the team. Young guys with Austin Johnson and Jerry Tillery right there. I just forgot about this, Jose. I didn't realize that happened. They signed Kyle Van Noy to be a backup linebacker.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Former Patriot.
Former Patriot and very, very good run stopper. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be key on those linebackers to help out the linemen to get that run stop. I know it sounds hard to do, but if those interior linemen can just hold up a little bit, not necessarily get blown back. If they can just hold their ground, it'll help those linebackers get that space and able to stop that run.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about my 2 favorite pickups for this offseason. Starting off with Khalil Mack. Man played All-Pro, get All-Pro. What All-Pro means, All-Pro first team, means you're the very best in that position in the entire NFL. He had 2 seasons where he played 2 different positions. He was named All-Pro to both positions.
First team.
He
was first team All-Pro.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's a first and a second team.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's 3 teams, actually. First, second, and third.
Third.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah.
First team defensive end and first team outside linebacker. Pretty much being that this guy's an edge master as far as what's needed. He got traded to the Chicago Bears, who was looking okay, but I mean, my goodness, the Bears, we don't have to go into as far as that details, as far as how they're looking. But Khalil Mack on the other side of a Joey Bosa, a very, very tandem team, and it's going to be very, very difficult to stop them. I see them being, I'm going to go on a limb, I see them being the top sack team in the NFL, specifically because of those 2 guys. You can't double team all of them.
No.
You can double team one of them, but one of them is going to be open as far as what's going on there.
So you're going to see both of their numbers go up.
Yep.
This next season.
Exactly. You're going to see a lot of one-on-ones from both of them specifically as what's going on because teams love the 3 wide receiver sets, and you can only double team so much.
Right.
So the formation right on there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Khalil Mack added to this team is another strong anchor to that defense, which is going to make them look incredible against the pass, and is going to help the young secondary out. But not looking so young anymore with the addition of your guy, Mr. Interception, J.C. Jackson.
J.C. Jackson.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. J.C. Jackson, former Patriot. Yeah. Bad piece to lose.
Yes.
For our Patriots defense. Yeah. However, he is well suited in a team in a defense that is just all across the board solid.
Yes.
In LA.
and definitely a better addition to help out Derwin James Jr., who was the strength of that secondary as a safety for a long time. You got your number one corner now. It's going to help out those other corners a little bit more. J.C. Jackson easily, I'm not exaggerating here, Jose, he's like a top 5 corner, at least in the league.
Oh yeah,
at least,
absolutely.
At the very least. So you got top players.
You didn't get a nickname like Mr. INT without putting up some numbers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. My point being is that this defense is going to probably be the stronger part of the two because Brandon Staley. Joe Staley's a left tackle who played for the Niners. I'm sorry. I'm getting excited. But Brandon Staley, his main MO was defense, and he helped build that Rams defense to what it is today.
Right.
So he trusts this defense. He's going to have his blueprint all over it.
Right.
And I keep talking, but what we get in the schedule because we're going to be here all night.
Let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and get into that schedule.
Yeah.
All right. So the Los Angeles Chargers, we're not going to put them as undefeated. Not by any means. Yeah. Not by any means are they going to be undefeated, especially with these. Especially with these first 2 games that they're starting off with in the regular season. Week 1 is going to be against Vegas, and that's going to be at SoFi.
Tough game, but they are going to have their first game win here.
Yeah, I do see them winning this one as well. Week 2 is going to be at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chargers, we gave this one to the Chargers. Or did we give
Chiefs?
This? No, we gave this one to the Chiefs. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, we gave this one to the Chiefs. That will be starting off the season 1-1.
Yep.
Right. The next 2 weeks is going to be easy games for them. Week 3 and Week 4. Week 3 against the Jaguars at SoFi. Week 4 is going to be at NRG against Houston.
Yeah, building up that record there with those 2 weak teams.
Week 5 is going to be at Cleveland.
Now, it's official. It's been confirmed. Deshaun Watson's going to be suspended for 11 games. It's not going to be. It's going to be without Deshaun Watson. So LA's taking this game,
and they most definitely are.
Yeah.
Well, even if Deshaun Watson was still playing this game, I would still give this one to the Chargers.
Yeah.
It would be very difficult, even for Deshaun Watson stepping into a new team, as well as being out of the game for an entire year.
For almost 2 years, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it would have been even with him on that team, I still would have seen the Chargers winning this one. Week 6 is going to be against the Denver Broncos at SoFi.
Yeah. If you're going to make a split between the teams, but I believe I gave them the sweep over the Broncos either way. So
we both did
for the Chargers.
Week 7 is going to be at SoFi against Seattle. 2 bye weeks in a row. 3 bye weeks actually.
Yeah, very, very. They get a little spurt of some easy games here that they have to win if they need to win.
They must. They really, really have to. So week 7 is going to be against Seattle. Week 8 is the true bye week. Yeah. Week 9 is at Atlanta.
So it's going to be 2 blowouts back to back is what should it be expecting from this team.
It should be. Yeah. Week 10 is going to be at Levi Stadium against the Niners.
Tough test on the road.
Yeah, but I do see the Chargers pulling this one off.
I do too.
Yeah, putting pressure on a young quarterback like Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one. Yeah. And that's if they do put Trey Lance in for this next season. Let's see if they even use.
I think it's been confirmed they're going to go with Trey Lance.
That's what I had heard too. I just wanted to be absolutely sure.
No, of course.
Week 11 is going to be against Kansas City at SoFi. We gave them the split on this one.
The split on this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Week 12 is going to be at Arizona State Farm Stadium.
Arizona's going to be on their way to collapse here, so it's going to be an easy game for the Chargers. I know that team. For years of experience, this is the point where they're going to collapse.
That's right.
Yeah.
Week 13 is going to be at Vegas, Allegiant Stadium.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another tough game for them, but I do see the Chargers pulling this one off.
Yep. Sweeping the leg here.
Yes, sir. Week 14 against Miami, easy win for them at SoFi. Week 15 against Tennessee, another easy win for them at SoFi. Yeah. This is going to be a very tough game at Indianapolis and Lucas Oil.
And seeding implications here in this game as well. I remember this game on the schedule.
Yeah.
Monday night primetime game.
A lot of pressure on them.
Yeah.
Yeah, for this one. However, I do see the Chargers pulling this one off.
Yep.
It's going to be a very tight race for them, though.
It's going to be ugly. It's going to be an ugly game because each team is going to be very, very good stopping at one the other. And good win.
Yeah, definitely.
Tough win, but a good road win.
Week 17 against the Rams in both their houses. Yeah, but it will be the Chargers Stadium, though, that night. Because it is labeled on the schedule as versus the Rams as opposed to at the Rams.
I think this is going to be a statement game for the Chargers. I think it's going to be a statement for them to say, we are here to stay in LA. It's not just one team. We are ready to make that next step, and I see them winning this one.
I see them winning this one as well.
Making a statement here on Sunday night.
Absolutely. Yeah. Week 18 is going to be at Denver. Yeah, the very last game at Mile High.
Yeah. going to give them the sweep here as well, just to be going to be the more better team as far as like consistency and discipline wise and chemistry wise.
For sure, yeah. And with that weak pass rush on the Denver side of the ball, they're going to be giving Justin Herbert a lot of time.
Yep.
A lot of time to think. Yeah. Well, the best record so far.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that they are just completely blowing out the division. This division is so difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
I mean, it literally comes down to just nitpicking weaknesses out of these teams.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was very exciting to be talking about this team, Ricardo. I mean, or this division as a whole. So we have been looking forward to this for weeks now.
No, it's definitely going to be the division to watch in the NFL. You're going to see a lot of close games, very, very key plays being dissected as far as mistakes, as far as implications, how it goes down the road. It's definitely going to be a matter of which team makes the less mistakes in these division games.
For sure.
Because they're going to be very close. And we know we're not going to be we're going to be wrong on some of these, but this is just our best guess as far as how the teams look right now. J.C. Jackson, just now, he got hurt yesterday. He's going to be out for 2 to 4 weeks. So, is there a chance he could get hurt again? Possibly. But we're banking on the fact that maybe he might not get hurt.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, is there a chance he could just prove everybody wrong, lead that team to be great and maybe an MVP? That's a possibility. Yes, it is.
We can apply this logic to every
Anything.
single one of the teams that we have talked about up until this point.
Exactly.
We are talking about them at their healthiest state.
Yes.
We are not going to wish injury upon any one of these players.
Yeah.
We are just making a very educated guess as to how they're going to be playing without injuries.
Yes.
Right. We can't predict injuries at all.
Yeah.
Right. Now we can anticipate them based off of
Age
their
and-
history, their age, just the way their body has been going up until that point. But that at the end of the day, it's an entire guess. So speaking of guesses, this is our prediction for this division going into the 2022 season. It's going to be the Los Angeles Chargers at number 1.
Yep.
The Kansas City Chiefs at number 2. For you, Ricardo, it's going to be the Raiders at 3.
Yep.
And the Broncos at 4.
And for Jose, it's going to be the Broncos at 3 and the Raiders at 4.
Yes.
As far as for the selection on there. But it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I cannot wait until the season gets started. Boy, man.
My goodness, yeah. I am beyond excited now.
Yes.
I am beyond excited. Well, that concludes our mini-series on all of the divisions in football.
Yeah.
So all we have to do now is just wait for the regular season to start. Absolutely excited for this.
Absolutely. And for you guys to know, we are going to take this next week off just to take a little break and get started once the season gets started on there. I don't think we've decided yet if we want to wait until after the first game of the season, because it is going to be on that Wednesday, on September the 7th.
It will be on that Wednesday, so we can go ahead and we're still going to be releasing the episode that Friday.
Yeah.
But
do you want to do it on that Thursday just so we have a chance to watch the game comfortably?
Let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening. If you like what you hear, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube channel and follow our Instagram at RJTalks_11 if you enjoy the show, and follow that Instagram for all of our updates. Any one of our updates.
Yep.
Right.
A lot of storylines for this next upcoming NFL season. A lot of fun stuff to watch, and we can't wait to start this season off with you guys. You have a good one, and we'll see you when the season starts.
We'll see you then.